Hello everyone and welcome back to Dragalia Foundry, a fan channel where everything Dragalia Lost can be found. In this video, I'm checking out the updated Alberian Battle Royale. We now have a monthly list of rewards that you can obtain by acquiring battle points. You can see some of the rewards here with some pretty valuable choice rewards, including Twinkling Sands, a cool skin for Gala Yuden to use his real weapon or to use on any other sword character of your choice. Lots of rupees, honey, ashes, even a Champion's Testament should be in here, I believe, as well as just lots of other upgrade materials, even some Eldwater at the very end. So in total, you can get rewards through the first 2,800 battle points that you obtain in a month, and they also changed the treasure trade to where everything that was previously around is now on the special tab. It's there permanently, and everything here on the monthly tab can only be obtained once per month. So we're going to do a few rounds today to check out the newly improved Battle Royale. They've changed the point distribution so that you're much more incentivized to try actually win rather than just idle or AFK. Idling is still an option, but you're going to get lower rewards the lower you place as far as the battle points go, so you're encouraged to at least try get into the middle of the pack compared to how the points were distributed previously. And if we can find a room here, we will be on our way. So I'm using the wand. That has been my preferred weapon type. I have enjoyed mixing it up with other weapon types, but what I'm sharing today are actually my first few runs ever once this update took place. So I think I recorded this a couple weekends back as far as the gameplay, and I've been doing a lot of rounds since then. I have about 2,100 battle points now, but these were the first 3 runs I did. You can see, or you could have seen a second ago, my battle points were at 0 for the month. So I want to walk through what I did, what I feel about the mode, and kind of give some general tips if this is something you're struggling with. I've seen a lot of mixed reactions to Battle Royale. Even though they changed the point structure to actually incentivize you to play, a lot of players just still really don't like this mode and don't want to participate in it. I have been really positive on it. I feel like it's one of the more fresh things in Dragalia right now, with events and endgame being kind of at a dead end at the time I'm recording. So I'm starting off here. I found somebody named Sophie. You can see my name is Althemia. That is the strategy, essentially, is to name yourself after the character you're playing and only use the default skins, since sometimes AI will appear and they will be named and they will be in such a way like they're not going to be any non-default AI as far as the skins go. So you might confuse people and make them think you're an AI, like that Sophie actually seems like it might be an AI based on what it's doing. But I think it's probably a real person, not sure. But anyway, it seemed like a pretty easy KO, so I just started following the Sophie at first. In general, you want to avoid confrontation in the first part of the match. If either of you uses a dragon, that's really bad. You want to save your dragons for the end. So I would say, like, if you can bait somebody into dragoning early, that's not a bad thing. But never use your own dragon. If they dragon, you should probably just run away and save your dragon. Here we have another conflict against a Joe. One of the reasons I've been liking the wand is I see a lot of mana casters these days, and even though I'm playing kind of close range here, wands are pretty good at kiting mana casters. Once that Joe dragoned, I decided I probably want to just get out of here, but I do have regen, and this being one of my first runs, I decided to dragon anyway. It's pretty easy to kite somebody who's in the miasma using Cupid, because you can attack from the safe zone at a distance. So I went ahead and KO'd that Joe, get extra bonus points for KOing people, of course, and then decided to catch up. Anytime you're on the edge of the miasma, that's likely to be kind of like a conflict point because other players are going to be running in from that part of the map. So if you're trying to pick off players and get KOs or steal KOs, trailing along the line of the miasma isn't a bad idea. There's also opportunity to get skill tablets and EXP from them. Otherwise, it's helpful to kind of familiarize yourself with the map. You saw I walked away there because somebody just transformed into Cupid, but those big tents tend to have really nice level up tablets. I call them tablets, but they're actually pizzas. Well, they're actually whetstones, but they're pizza slices. So yeah, you want to get pizzas And tablets you want to get, but I don't always get them if I have a setup I'm happy with. You could always burn your own tablets to get the tablets on the ground and therefore make it so other players can't get them. But I usually don't actually burn tablets unless I really found something particularly good that I want to change my setup for. So I'm trying to deal with this dagger because if we get to the end, that's going to be kind of a problem for me. I found that melee tends to trump wands toward the end. At a high level, swords, even daggers can do a lot of damage. And I don't really want to have to deal with that. I'd rather fight off against a final enemy like a mana caster that I can deal with relatively easily. I'm surprised to see the Sophie here. I don't know what's going on with level 2 Sophie, but that could be somebody that hid most of the battle and just ended up making it relatively late into the game by hiding. That is a legit strategy as well. Like, that's probably a little bit better than pure AFK if you don't really like the mode and don't want to go too in-depth, but you still want to try get some points. So things actually look kind of bad there. I'm going to let those players fight each other and kind of just run away. And now that the Cupid has ended, I don't have a Cupid, so I put myself in a bad position by using my dragons sort of frivolously. But I can kind of just hide here and hope for the best. Luckily, there was just a random Mine there that I was able to KO and get some tablets off of, as well as some EXP. Now I have some nice regen action happening. I want to try Kite and Force Strike this dagger, but it is kind of annoying to do so. Ultimately, they just walked in a bog, so this was not like a high level ending to this run. And I don't know what type of dot they had on them that caused them to just lose there, or maybe it was one of my projectiles and they were on low HP. But that was 1 of 1, my first round in the new system and my first victory. It's definitely gotten harder since the initial weekend. I really wish this was available more toward a weekend lineup, like maybe Friday and Thursday at the very least, because right now it's only available regularly on Wednesday and Thursday, and it's just not a great time for people that are in North America or the Americas as a whole. I feel like a lot of that is work hours for people, and there's not even part of it that goes into Friday, which is a little bit more of a reprieve in general. I guess in Japan, the Thursday date probably does slide into Friday, which might be nice. But for me, if they line this up like right before Astral Raids, that would be ideal. So if they did, actually it would be even better if they did like Battle Royale Friday and Saturday, Astral Raid Sunday and Monday. Personally, I would like that better. Just because that's the big constraint with this mode, I find. It's like 2,800 points per month is a lot, even if you're winning a substantial portion of your matches or getting like top 3 or top 4. I think they set the target high intentionally because it's the first time out and they want to continuously give players an incentive to participate, no matter whether you're starting this the first weekend like this footage was from, or whether you're doing it much later in the month and just trying to finish it out. I think they just want to have that ongoing incentive. But as with other modes, the Dragalia dev team has been pretty good at tuning based on feedback. So like the first time we had raid battles, the first time we had facility events, the maximum points to get all the rewards was way too high. And in subsequent events, they reduced that to make it more in line with what players were actually doing. So I'm hoping they do that here. I think a little bit less, like 2,000 would probably be reasonable, and maybe increase the amount of battle points across the board. That wouldn't be a bad thing, in my opinion. But you can see here I'm just kind of in this ruins area on the right side of the map. There are usually a lot of high-value skill tablets here. That's actually an example where I traded my regen tablet for one of these other tablets, and I decided not to get that other one there in exchange for some of the tablets I already had. I kept Poison and kept Bog. These are pretty nice, I find, as a wand to deal with close-range enemies, and also for players that don't automatically rebound, you can kind of knock them back, sometimes knock them into the miasma or elsewhere. Like this Mim is bogged and poisoned. I made a mistake, walked into poison, got poisoned myself, but we're able to take out Mim just fine, even at relatively close range, and haven't spent her dragons or anything, so that was a relatively good early conflict. And now I remember this tablet was here, so I went back for it. There's also a good amount of whetstones in this area, so just kind of farming up. And for the beginning part of the match, that is what I recommend. Like, go into the houses, go into the tents, get whetstones, and get some tablets with a priority on affliction-inducing ones for a wand. That seems to be the best. In general, I should always be trying to use my Force Strike to KO lesser enemies when possible because it charges my first skill. But sometimes I do forget and just tap and attack. But yeah, that would be strongly preferred. I would have a fully charged first skill right now for sure. And as you can see, a lot of chaos on the war front here with the miasma setting in. I get kind of greedy there to go into the miasma, and I'm also poisoned, so this isn't super wise of me. But sometimes, you know, you take a few risks, people are afflicted, you know they're not going to drag in, and you get good priority on your hits, and you go for it. But yeah, this is kind of a high-risk strategy here. In both this run and the last run, there were times when my health was low. And then I ended up having to Cupid there to make sure that I survived, which isn't really good. It's not great to use your dragon that early. But at the same time, there's enough players here that are battling that I felt like probably worth using the Cupid to ensure that I don't die that quickly, at least make it so that I last longer in the match. And I knew that I would at least have one more for later on. But one of the big advantages of Cupid in that situation was like the increased movement speed of being a dragon. Make sure I was able to pick up some of the more desirable tablets that I wanted before other players could rush to them. And here, I see that there's a conflict happening. And in this case, I had 2 melee skills, so I wanted to come up close onto that Manicaster. And even though they started to unleash some of their own skills, it didn't really work out for them. There, again, a preliminary Cupid, kind of premature a little bit, but wanted to be safe. When I'm in that red as a wand, with the hit priority being a little bit questionable at times, I decided to go ahead and go for it. And at this point, you could see this is me basically trying to take away regen tablets from others, since I didn't really, I mean, I did need to heal, but I didn't necessarily have a reason to leave the extra regen tablets there because somebody else could pick them up. And yeah, few skills in, like one of the things I like to do as a wand is knock back the enemy with like, let's say the blazing circlet type skill, the circular slash, or an affliction melee skill. They tend to fall or fly backwards. Then you can kind of kite with force strikes or basic attacks. You can also use the ranged skill that looks like Maribel's skill, and that will hit them after they fall back, but like you want to wait for them to get up. Or you could start it early and like once they get up, they'll start getting hit. But in general, I think like that's the biggest issue players have, is that the hit detection feels weird, and it is weird. It takes some getting used to. It's also possible that depending on your device and your ISP, you might also have some connectivity problems that make it even worse. I was pleasantly surprised, I have to say, with these few runs and the runs I've been doing since this mode kind of got revamped, that it's actually felt pretty fluid for me and pretty solid. It even feels a little bit snappier and faster. I was commenting in one of my past videos that the mode felt really slow to play, and in these clears, it just felt like about the right pace. Perhaps now that there's more human players involved and more of the rewards are getting snapped up more quickly, like the whetstones and so on, it sort of changes the dynamic or something, but like it felt like the right pace, right length of the match, and I never experienced any huge slowdown. There are times when somebody just juggles me or combos me and I can't really do anything, but I tend to think that that's more on me and the timing of my skills rather than any type of connection issues, because if you do chain skills together and interrupt the skills your opponent's using, you can do stuff like that. So here we see somebody using a sticker. That's definitely something I've not incorporated into my playset. And one thing to note is, like, you saw me go into that building. The fact that there was no reward in there should immediately alert me that, like, somebody's in this area. Now, I went north and I found rewards, so whoever's in this area probably went, like, to the bottom left or something. But anyway, I find somebody that's idling here, and because these are now people who are actually incentivized not to just immediately die, I was willing to use a skill use on them just because we might get into a conflict, like they might drag in. It could be kind of annoying to have to deal with that early in the fight. So even if you find people who are idling, I'm usually pretty aggressive in taking them out rather than just using basic attacks. We see another help sticker that could be a trick, or it could be somebody that actually is trying to AFK farm. And one of the nice things about this mode, in my opinion, with the changes that have taken place as well, you see somebody died there, is that, well, even if you lose, you can kind of fire it up pretty quickly. And don't get me wrong, I just won 2 in a row, but like there are plenty of matches that I've lost, gotten 6th or 7th, or even gotten dead last if I had an early confrontation that went wrong. I would say if you're struggling with those types of skirmishes, try run away rather than try KO the opponent. Using all of your dragon and stuff isn't going to help you out that much in the long run. And if you're playing against a melee in general, you should be able to run away from them without them really being able to chase you down and deal a lot of damage to you. So that is always an option. Here there's a Gerota blade. Haven't seen too many blades around, but I feel like this is somebody I can kind of take on. And something died, but I don't think it was the Gerota there, so I kind of wasted a skill because now I don't have any range skills. But they wasted a dragon, which is a much huger cost as far as if you're trying to go for the win versus just trying to get like a mid-rank place. So once their dragon wears off, I go back in to kind of inquire what's going on, and it's a Joe. So I don't know what happened to that Gerota. Did the Gerota die and there was also a Joe at the time? Not sure, but I just decide I'm just going to go for the kill here. I don't want to risk it. Close confrontation, we're sort of toward the end of the battle. But in general, I would say with these fights being some of the earlier ones I did, I was very greedy with my dragoning. I do think saving your 2 dragons until the very end has become my preferred strategy for sure. And like in a lot of matches I did after this very initial period, that was almost necessary because there would be like 2 or 3 players left when the miasma was closing in to where there was almost no space left to maneuver. And at that point, having access to 2 dragons is a huge game changer to be able to actually survive. So I was pretty aggressive in my dragon use. Definitely more than I am now. Now that this mode has become a little bit harder, people have kind of started to play it more and kind of familiarize themselves. So I'm level 7, so I can't really take advantage of those tablets. I could sort of watch and wait to see if this Gerota goes for them, but I see him moving here. Unfortunately, it's hard to auto-aim if they're moving in and out of the shrubs, so I'm not able to land a good 4-strike, and Gerota does. This isn't a particularly good situation for me, but I do have 2 regen skills, and I also am at higher level, and I also have 1 dragon. So if this Gerota has 2 dragons, I could be in trouble, but if he only has 1, I feel like I've got this, essentially. And I'm able to tank through a lot of what Cupid is doing because I did have, 2 regen skills. So now, I think I'm going to try to get off 1 skill. No, it looks like I'm just going to go for the Cupid. So this is where we'll find out. Does he have another Cupid or not? If he doesn't, there's not a lot of room to actually maneuver and dodge anymore with this amount of miasma. It was very clear that there were no other hidden players in that run, but hiding in the miasma, especially as a healer, is a new strategy that's kind of developed and taken off a little bit. It's not a bad strategy, but either way, we were able to get the hat trick with that last run being a little more disappointing because we didn't get the full 90 points you get for getting 5 or more KOs, only 88. But we did get enough points, 270 total and 268 this month from those first 3 runs that we're starting able to look at the treasure trade with a little more temptation. At this point, I've already cleared out what I want from the treasure trade, just trying to finish off the monthly rewards. And that's pretty much going to do it for today, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this look at Battle Royale using the wand weapon type. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. Thank you as always for watching, take care, and I'll see you next time.